How's it going? Today I want to talk about Ecotec swap Volkswagens. When I first looked into it, there wasn't a whole lot of information on it. There's a lot of people doing it, but not a video that described everything, the cost, all that. So when I jumped into it, I didn't really know a whole lot about it. I was always hardcore air-cooled. I love the engines. They're simple. Nothing beats the sound of them screaming up hills. That's what I've always had. But I wanted to change it up and see what all the fuss was about with the new Ecotecs. I went with the 2.2 Ecotec. It's not completely done yet. It will start up, run. Still got to do some work with the air filter, and I've mounted my radiator on its side, which is really strange, but that was the best option I had until I build the rear bumper. I doubt I keep it that way. I might. There is an air gap, and it will sit here and idle without overheating. The fan kicks on off. It doesn't stay on all the time. Rich at RDM Ecotecs hooked me up with most of the stuff I needed. He did the flash on the computer, and he cut down my wiring harness. He offered these pretty cool headers. They were a little pricey, but I had to have it. They look cool. Why not? You only live once. He also hooked me up with this intake. Normally this goes down here and that goes up here, but with the wing it wouldn't really fit. It's just kind of temporarily sitting here until I figure out the air filter I want to do. That's one of the only things that I haven't got buttoned up. Inside the car, you can see I put the 17-gallon fuel cell. I went with the AN fittings. Fuel pump, fuel filter. That filter also regulates the fuel pressure, which I thought was pretty neat. He told me which one to get. There's my computer in the box. I'm still going to put an aluminum plate in here, but for now, I've just kind of got the wires running through there. I've got it broke down here on what I paid for everything so far. Like I said, all I've got is the air box left. The engine, I bought a running driving car for 400 bucks. It had hit a pole or something. Front end was all busted up. Radiator was busted. But I literally drove it off the trailer and into my shop. So that was a plus. I've got the transaxle on here because I feel like that's just part of the swap. I got a pretty good deal on a 6 rib. I gave 500 bucks for it. The guy guaranteed it come out of his van again. So far everything's worked fine on it. Normally those go for about $650 from around here. Shifter adapter. You don't have to have that, but I wanted it in a Beetle. The shifter is lower than a bus. A lot of guys lower the transmission. A lot of guys just rework this. Even in my buggy, it kind of curves up. When I did the swap, I just bent the tube. But that's this piece here. Here's a better look at it with a little more light on it. It was this piece, this aluminum piece. So far it's worked great. I did move the motor and transmission back about 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches, and I tilted the nose down. The only reason I did that, now when tilting it down, I just figured I'd do it to try to help with the axles. But going back, that's what I had to do to clear my firewall. Let me grab the light. As you can see, it's pretty tight. So I figured might as well move it now instead of cutting out the back of the bug. I didn't really want to do that. I've also got on this list the throttle cable push-pull system. It's not on it right now, but I've got about 150 bucks in it. Basically, it'll hook straight to the pedal, run down the side of the tube, and pretty close to the clutch cable, and loop around to the engine. I went ahead and put the clutch cable on here too. I got a pretty good deal, $9. It's a little thicker cable. It's running stage 2, so I figured I better go a little thicker. We'll see how it works out. I might switch it to hydro later. The stage 2 clutch, pressure plate, throwout bearing, $200. Adapter plate, flywheel, and hardware, $500. Radiator. It's the 3-core radiator for a Honda Civic. It's just a cheapo eBay knockoff deal, but I mean, so far it works great. It's cooling it great. I do have to get a catch can and hook this up, but so far I'm not having any problems running the radiator on its side like that. Now I do have, obviously you can't feel it, I do have enough of this flexible hose here that I can unbolt the radiator, bring it to the back, fill it, bring it back up, and remount it. Like I said, it's probably temporary sitting here, but until I build my cage, it's the best I've got. Fuel pump, it's a Walboro fuel pump. It's what all the LS swap guys are running. They're running that same filter. I've heard a lot of good about both of them on different forums and stuff. The fuel filter, like I said, it regulates the fuel pressure, sends it back to the tank. 17-gallon fuel cell. You don't have to have this, but you do need to tap in a return line to your fuel tank. I've seen a lot of guys, they'll just use their return line and then tee it back in, but then it's circulating such a small area, the pump starts heating up the fuel vapors. It'll actually boil inside the fuel line. I had no Dodge that used to do that all the time. I mean, I still drove it for years because I put clothespins on it, and that was just enough to keep it cool. But you really need to return it to the tank. So every time I got on there looking up fuel stuff, somebody was teeing it back in and having problems once it got warm. So don't do that. Next on the list is the water block and 2.4 water tube. Here is the tube. It's a little different tube than the 2.2. It still connects to the back of the water pump the same. That's what you have to have if you want to run one of these water blocks. Basically, the water block takes away your heater hoses that go inside the car and it takes away the thermostat, gives you a spot to put a the harness back in, and if you wanted to, a gauge on the dash, which I'll eventually get at some point. All the fuel fittings are the AN fittings and the braided line and all that. I have $149 in just fittings and braided line. They're expensive, but so far nothing is leaked. Got it coming out of the back of the car, straight into the fuel rail. Now another thing I've got on this list is the vacuum cap assortment. I bought a pack of those to block off a few things. As you can see, right there in the middle of the screen, had to block that off. Back here on the back, in the middle of the screen, had to block that off. Went ahead and stuck one there, just keep trash out of it. So, when I first started it, didn't know, I think it was that one I had left off, and it wouldn't idle, and it kind of run, kind of rough. I didn't even think about unhooking all that, so you've got to block that off. Don't forget to block that off. Next, I broke the throttle positioning sensor, so I went ahead and bought a new one. But pulling it out of the car, it just got snapped off. So might as well replace it. The transaxle I put 19 bucks worth of gear oil in. Took it apart, cleaned it, filled it up. The IAT extension, due to my sensor being up here and not over here, I had to extend it. So I just bought this little extension. So far it works pretty good. It's just a cheap eBay knockoff. Bolts, nuts, and antifreeze, 35 bucks. The adapter plate comes with all the hardware you need, but you still have to have bolts to like mount your radiator and things like that. The header, muffler, and water block and harness work and computer flash was 1,210 bucks. Solid transmission mount, 42 bucks. Radiator hoses, 71. Starter, I got this starter off of a diesel, I believe it's a Volkswagen TDI diesel or something. Basically, it's a cheap way to go with a high torque with lifetime warranty. And Rich also sells the adapter plate to make it work. All the adapter plate that it does is help to mount it. It goes in the Volkswagen starter hole, but it just doesn't bolt up. So the adapter plate lets it bolt up, and it starts fantastic. I've just got it on. I've never even had it on a battery. I've just been running it on a jumper box, and it fires up every time. Turns over way faster than the buggy comes over the factory starter in 1835. So, we total everything up for the engine, including the, all the parts I bought for add-ons, the engine, everything total, 3,240 bucks. The trans, I've got 544 bucks in. That counts, the gear oil and stuff like that. You don't have to have trans to do the swap. I just thought that, I think it's best, so I wanted to add this in on it. So total, I've got 3,784 bucks. I have right around that amount of money in just the 1835 on my buggy. It's nothing special. It's got the 110 cam, Eagle 110 cam, light and flywheel, serpentine kit, chromatic push rods, had some head work done, dual carbs, and it doesn't even have but about 95 horse. And this, from what I've been told, is supposed to have 145 horse, give or take. So, for the same amount of money, you're getting more horsepower, in my opinion, reliability, just because it could be 20 degrees outside or 120 degrees outside, and it's going to fire right up and drive in the rut. That doesn't have any chokes. That, when it's cold, you have to get her warmed up before she's going to move. So, granted, I've never had any problems out of it, real problems out of it. It's been very dependable, but I think this will be a little more dependable and a lot more power, and it's about the same price in my opinion. You can do this quite a bit cheaper than what I've done, and you can do it quite a bit more. I bought a few things that I didn't have to buy. For instance, radiator could have gone a little cheaper. Hoses could have gone cheaper. I could have saved quite a bit of money not getting this header and the V-band clamp with the muffler. It is ceramic coated. That's the main thing that kind of got me turned on about it. On eBay, you can spend about 90 bucks for a little stainless steel header that it comes down to a collector, and then you can build off that whatever you want. So you can definitely save money not getting this. I just thought it was cool. Looks bad. Had to have it. So that's pretty much it. Besides what I showed, everything's for the most part self-explanatory. The harness all clips right in, plug and play. You can't really do it backwards. It won't plug into the wrong thing. So there's a few things that I didn't know about jumping in. I'll show you those real quick. When I bought the water block, went to put it on and found out that my tube was the wrong tube. So that put me behind about a week and a half till I could get Rich to get a 2.4 tube to my house. So just keep in mind, if you want to do the water block, make sure you get the 2.4 tube. He had a used one laying around that he sold me. But if you got a 2.4, you don't have to worry about that. But another thing that put me behind was all the fuel lines. There's just so many different fittings for so many different things. Like I had to get the fitting to go through the wall of the bug to get it mounted. That way it wouldn't rub a hole through it. Had to get the push-on fitting onto the fuel rail. Had to get all these different adapters to make everything work. Had to bump up a size to get into the fuel cell. So that sort of put me behind, having to buy a couple pieces, see if it worked, see which size I needed. Luckily, out of everything I bought, I've only got 2 fittings left over, and most likely I'm going to use them to hook up my return, or my vent, sorry, my vent. I think eventually I'm going to plumb the fuel fill up here to the roof and make it to where I can fill it up outside the car, because there's no way I'm getting a gas pump in that with that back glass in. So when I do that, I'll run this up and get into it. If you've got any more questions, just drop a comment. I'll try to keep up and reply to everybody. If you want to subscribe, I'm going to be posting more videos of the Baja as I build it. Still got a lot of stuff I got to do, like the front end. Currently got a stock ball joint that'll be pulled out, and a kingpin with probably 1x4 arms will be put in. Plan on doing a roll cage from front to back bumper all throughout it. Still got to get a bender and a tube notcher, but it's in the works, probably this summer. Still got to put these doors together. They're empty right now. All the mechanisms and the crank and the glass and the rubbers, which isn't going to be fun. All that's got to go back together. I've got some matching door panels, like the rear hood up here. I still have to plumb in all the brake system. I've got all the calipers installed, new master cylinder installed. Got this sitting about where I want it. Just got to plumb it all in. So if you want to see more of the build, just subscribe, and I'll be posting more videos soon. Thanks.